Venice is sinking. Everyone has known that for 1,000 years. Nobody could stop it. Now, 78 steel gates can. November the 4th, 1966. The water rose 6 feet in a single night. It didn't ask permission. That was 58 years ago. This is today. Wait, every one of these gates is invisible right now. A container ship could sail directly over one and never know it's there. For 0.6 billion euros. 37 years late. Paid for by a flood nobody saw coming. Watch what they actually built. The flood alarms failed. Nobody was ready. The water didn't stop rising until it was 6 feet deep.
I watched the water come up the stairs and I could not close the door fast enough.
In St. Mark's Square, every ground floor in the city underwater. Priceless art underwater. 1,000 years of stone, soaking in salt water for the first time. Here's the crazy part. This wasn't even Venice's worst-case flood. It was just the one that finally forced a decision. Engineers had warned for decades. Nobody listened until the water was in the room. 17 years later, Italy finally approved a plan nobody had ever attempted at this scale. Build a barrier across the sea itself, invisible, that could rise on command and disappear again. They called it MOSE, Modulo Sperimentale Elettromecanico. Everyone just says MOSES. The plan was almost rejected twice. Too expensive, too experimental. Nobody had built gates this size, hinged flat against a seafloor anywhere on Earth. Here's the brutal engineering problem nobody could solve for 40 years. The lagoon has to breathe twice a day, or it dies. Seal it, and the fishing grounds, the tides, the whole ecosystem collapses in a few short years. Leave it open, and the city drowns a little more every decade. The answer: 78 gates lying flat on the seabed, invisible, until the one day a year they're needed. Now watch how they actually built something that had never existed before. 3 inlets. Lido, Malamaco, Chioggia. Every drop of the Adriatic moves through them. All 3 had to be sealed with something that isn't there most of the time. The system splits into 4 separate barriers. 2 at Lido, because it's the widest inlet. 1 at Malamaco. 1 at Chioggia. 78 gates spread across all 4. Every stretch is different below the surface. Soft clay in one inlet, denser sand in another. Survey ships drill the seabed first at every single section before anyone commits to a design. Step 1. Cut the seabed open. Dredgers work all 3 inlets at once, around the clock. Trenches 20 feet deep, cut straight into centuries of soft lagoon silt. Miss the depth by even a meter here, and every gate installed above it inherits that mistake for the next.
You cannot use the same foundation plan twice. The seafloor changes every few hundred meters.
100 years. Divers go down first, into water so churned by the dredging that visibility drops to almost nothing. They work by feel and by sonar. Nobody can see what they're building. Then the crisis. The first survey comes back wrong. The trench at Malamaco is off by half a meter, sloped where it should be flat.
You are digging a hole in the middle of a live shipping lane. The port never closes for you.
Redredge. 2 more weeks lost. The schedule doesn't care. Trench complete. Now the foundation goes in. Concrete boxes the size of apartment buildings, built onshore, floated out, sunk directly onto the new trench floor. Dozens of them, one beneath every stretch of barrier. Each caisson has to settle within centimeters of its planned position, or nothing built on top of it will ever line up correctly. A tug loses control in a...
The first time you watch a 70,000-ton concrete box disappear under the water, you stop breathing for a second.
Sudden current. The caisson drifts 8 meters off its mark before anyone can react. Cables snap taut. Divers scramble to re-anchor it by hand, underwater, in near-zero visibility. It holds, barely. They reposition and try again. One caisson down, dozens more to go, at 3 separate inlets, simultaneously for years. Around every caisson, engineers need solid ground that doesn't exist yet. Barge after barge dumps rock and fill into open water. The new land rises inch by inch, one drop at a time. Too fast, and the fill slides right back into the sea. Too slow, and the whole project falls behind. Artificial breakwater.
Standing on that island, you're standing on something that was open water 6 months earlier.
Islands built from scratch at all 3 inlets, just so cranes and crews have somewhere to stand above the sea. Each breakwater has to absorb open Adriatic wave energy without transferring it into the gate foundations behind it. Get the slope angle wrong, and every storm afterward chips away at the structure underneath. Engineers settle on a precise angle after months of wave tank testing back on land, long before a single rock is placed at sea. Now the hardest part of the entire project begins. Every gate needs a hinge. The hinge is the one part the whole system depends on forever. A single hinge weighs as much as a loaded truck. It has to be positioned to a tolerance measured in millimeters. Divers guided into alignment against bolt holes cast into the caisson by hand, in water too murky to see more than a few feet ahead. A hydraulic torque tool clamps.
Get one hinge wrong, and that gate never closes flush again. You don't get a second chance underwater.
Onto the first bolt. It shudders. It turns. One connection, done. 77 more bolts. Then the next hinge. Then the next. One hinge is found misaligned after installation, discovered only when the test gate refuses to sit flush. The crew relowers it, redrills, rebolts. 3 extra days, 1 gate. Multiply that risk by 78 at 3 inlets for over a decade. Onshore, a steel yard the size of a small town. This is where all 78 gates are built, one at a time. Each gate, 92 feet long, 20 feet wide, up to 300 tons, hollow, painted safety yellow. Well,
You're building something that has to survive underwater for 100 years. Every weld gets checked twice.
builders work in shifts, day and night. Sparks lighting up the yard like a stadium. One gate fails a pressure test in the yard. A hairline weld seam, invisible to the eye, found only by ultrasound. Scrapped, rebuilt from the frame up. Finished gates get loaded onto barges, one segment lashed down at a time, and shipped out to the inlets where their hinges are already waiting. A convoy of barges crosses the open lagoon at dawn, each gate dwarfing the tugboats pulling it. A gate is useless without a way to move it. That means air, compressed air, pumped through kilometers of buried pipeline from onshore compressor stations built specifically for this. Every pipe joint checked before the trench closes over it. Miss one, and the leak isn't found until the gate that depends on it fails to rise.
The pipes are boring to look at, and they are the reason any of this works at all.
At Malamako and Chioggia, engineers also have to solve a second problem. Ships still need to get through, even when the barrier is sealed. The answer: separate ship locks, poured directly into the barrier itself. Big enough for...
Get the lock timing wrong during a storm closure, and you've trapped a ship on the wrong side of the barrier in open sea.
for container traffic and fishing boats alike. A lock chamber floods and drains independently of the main barrier. Water level on each side has to match to the centimeter before the gates inside it will even open. Sensors go in next, thousands of them embedded in the concrete and the steel itself. Strain gauges, tilt meters, pressure sensors on every gate. Now, finally, one gate is ready to test. No fanfare, Just one gate, alone, rising out of calm water for the very first time in the system's history. An engineer has both hands on the control box. Nobody is sure it will actually work. Compressed air floods the chamber. The gate lightens. It rotates.
This whole system has to breathe and settle for a century. We watch every millimeter of that, every single day.
Upward, like a trapdoor opening in reverse. It holds. It works. But one gate working proves.
That was the moment 30 years of arguing about whether this was even possible finally stopped mattering.
Almost nothing. 77 more have to work exactly the same way, together, on command, for the rest of the century. 2014. Prosecutors uncover something the engineers never saw coming. A bribery scheme worth over 25 million euros, running straight through the consortium managing construction. It reaches the city's own mayor.
For a while, nobody knew if the project would survive its own construction.
He resigns within days. Dozens of officials and executives are arrested. It becomes one of the largest public works corruption cases in modern Italian history. New anti-corruption oversight is forced onto the project. Work slows. The final cost more than doubles to 4.6 billion euros. The finish date slips 9 years. It survives. Barely. Construction continues. By the time the last gate is finally installed, Venice has waited 57 years since the flood that started it all. October the 3rd, 2020. A storm tracks toward the Adriatic. Forecasters predict a tide of 4 feet 10 inches, enough to put more than half of Venice back underwater. 2 years earlier, a tide that size flooded 85% of the city. This time, for the first time ever, all 78 gates rise together. Engineers watch from a control room as compressed air pushes water out of each gate, one inlet at a time. 30 minutes later,
We had 30 minutes to find out if 37 years of work actually worked.
the barrier is sealed. Outside the barrier, the Adriatic does exactly what the forecast said. A 4'10" surge slams into the coast. Inside the lagoon, nothing. St. Mark's Square stays dry. Cafes keep their chairs out. Tourists keep walking. First time in 54 years Venice was warned of a major flood and simply didn't flood. Each activation costs roughly 220,000 euros in energy and operating costs alone. By 2023, the barrier was raised more than 60 times in a single year, a number that would have sounded impossible when it was designed. Current forecasts suggest that by the year 2100, the gates may need to stay raised for months at a time, closing the port, slowly suffocating the same lagoon the system was built to protect. It does nothing about the ground still settling beneath the city, nothing about freshwater flooding when heavy rain can't drain with the gates closed. Venice bought itself decades, not forever. The engineers who built it say so themselves. 78 gates for 0.6 billion euros, 37 years of politics before a single piling went into the seabed. A corruption scandal that nearly buried the project along with the city it was meant to save.
We built this around 1980s sea level math. The ocean didn't agree to stay inside those numbers.
And on one October night, it worked exactly as designed. Venice is still sinking, slowly. The sea is still rising, slowly. MOSE didn't end that fight. It just bought one of the most fragile cities on Earth more time to figure out what comes next. If you want to understand how engineers solve the problems everyone else calls impossible, this is that channel. Subscribe to Global Factory Process. New impossible engineering every week.